Rev up your engines for the Mid-Michigan Biker Podcast with Big E. Proudly sponsored by Christensen Law, where bikers helping engine bikers is more than just a motto. It's our commitment to the biker community. Be sure to tune in and listen to the latest news and biker buzz. And for all your personal injury needs, be sure to contact the Christensen Law team at 248-900-9000. Welcome to the Mid-Michigan Biker Podcast, where the rubber meets the road and the tales of the ride unfold. I'm Big E, your guide on this two-wheeled adventure. Life is short, bikers, so let's get after it. Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast. This is going to be the big 7-0. Pretty excited about that. This week's episode, we're talking to Tony Nelson, and he has a ride that's going on actually the same day as our club's ride, so I probably won't make it down there, but his has got, it's one of those sad things, so I'll let Tony tell a little bit about how it started and talk about his riding club, because he's a member of a riding club down there. Tony?
Sure. Thank you. So yes, what we have going on is this Saturday, July 13th, we have the second annual Deven Free Memorial Ride. We started this a few years ago. Deven Free is actually my cousin, who at the age of 12, while playing outside, was shot in the head with a BB gun. Even though it was a BB gun, it did lodge about 4 to 5 inches into his brain, putting him basically into a vegetative state. He unfortunately passed July 7th of 2022. And what we've been doing is to kind of honor him. We've been holding these rides. We had our first one last year, was the inaugural. This year will be our second annual. Last year, the proceeds went to the foundation that really helped the family while he was going through this, which was the Ronald McDonald House. Unfortunately, there was really no hospital that could support the level of trauma he had on our side of the state. So the family had to get him over to Ann Arbor. And the Ronald McDonald House really took care of him out there. So last year's donations and a lot of what they do go to support that.
So I can say something about the Ronald McDonald House, because sure, I've actually experienced it myself. My son was born like 2 months early up in Traverse City, and we actually had the opportunity to stay in that type of facility, and they are awesome. So that is a great cause. I just want to throw that out there. Great cause. If your loved one is in the hospital and you need a place to stay, that's awesome. All right.
Yeah, no, it was phenomenal. I mean, it was beyond help for them. This year, however, we're actually supporting a young lady. She's actually related to our club through another member. It's a 5-year-old young lady who's been diagnosed with systematic juvenile, I'm going to mess this one up, idiopathic arthritis.
I think you hit it right on the head.
Basically, she's dealing with all kinds of pains and flare-ups, does a lot of IV medications. She's recently joined a research study. They're trying to figure out kind of what works for her body, and all of this in a 5-year-old. So this year, all the donations we take through the ride, because we're not charging for the ride, it's just whatever your heart feels led to give when you register, will go to this young lady's family to really help them get through everything that they're pretty much doing right now, what they're kind of dealing with. And definitely looking forward to it. We're going to be starting in Galesburg at the fire department. And we've got a beautiful ride through Southwest Michigan, hitting a couple of different spots there. One in Cologne. I'm drawing a blank on my other stop. I'll figure it out, but we've got it all mapped out, ready to go. That's right, Cologne and Vicksburg, and then
Vicksburg,
returning back to Galesburg. And we'll also have hot dogs. We'll have 50/50. Just looking to have a great time on a beautiful weekend, and would love to have anybody that's up to it want to come out and ride with us. We'd love to have you.
All right, so you're on your second year. Do you think this is going to be something you're going to do every year? Then you're going to pick somebody and or a cause and donate and put on a nice ride?
Yeah, I think that's the intention. We want to kind of keep doing this. One of the things we're looking at is we hold this right around the time that he's passed. So we kind of use it as a time to really kind of allow the family to focus on something positive. If we've got somebody like Lucy where we can kind of help them out in that way, we'll do that. If not, we'll pick a foundation, we'll pick a charity, and that whatever year we'll go to that particular charity or whatever the case may be.
All right, so tell me a little bit about your club.
Sure. So we're still I'll call it a new club. We've been in existence a little over a year and a half, coming up on 2 years, I believe. Basically just a group here in Grand Rapids called United to Ride. Number of friends who kind of got together, formed a small group, and do a lot of consistent riding. Usually every weekend we're out somewhere doing something or supporting something. For instance, our group is we're ground crew for the Talons Out flight out of Kalamazoo.
Oh,
so
cool.
Whenever they have a flight, our crew's there to welcome the vets in the morning, to make sure they get in, get registered, and get them onto the flights. And then we come back in the evening and help welcome them back, get them loaded on buses, and take them to their welcome home party, which most of them don't know. And we usually do that with a motorcycle escort.
That's very cool.
Oh, it's a blast. If no one's done it, if you've never been there for at least a welcome home, I highly recommend it.
Sounds like pretty cool.
It is. There's never a dry eye in the house, especially now. We're starting to transition. When we started doing this 6 years ago, we had a lot of World War II and Korea vets, a lot of World War II. Now, like this last flight, we had one World War II vet. The rest were a couple of Korea, mostly Vietnam. So these guys are getting that welcome home that those Vietnam vets didn't get.
Right, kind of what they deserve. Right, that's
exactly.
Cool. Very cool, very cool. Yeah, and the World War II vets are getting fewer and fewer, unfortunately.
For the record, the one that we had, he was 96 or 97, and he rode a Spider. And he did roughly 10,000 miles a year on that thing. So
wow.
Still going hard on the rubber.
That's awesome. That is really good. That gives me hope. That gives me hope right there. So you guys have been together for almost 2 years now?
In this club, we were part of another club previously, which I've been riding with these guys now for 8 years total.
Oh, wow.
So we've been kind of running the roads kind of all over. On average, we do most of us come out with about 10 to 12,000 miles a year on the bikes or better.
Very cool. Very cool. You guys definitely ride. That's for sure. I was just shy of 10,000 on my bike last year, and this year I'll probably crush that number. So, we recently started our own riding club as well up here. So it kind of resonates a little bit with what you've been doing and what we've been doing, because we rode with another club and then we kind of went off and did our own thing. And, yeah, very cool. So do you guys have like meetings and all? I mean, how structured, I guess, is your club?
We try to have a meeting at least once a month. We usually meet for breakfast on Sundays to kind of discuss anything that might come up in between those meetings. We do have our officer structure, bylaws are all in place. President, vice president, road captain, which that's me currently. Cool. Tail gunner, sergeant at arms, all are in place. Definitely looking to grow. It's been kind of the same group for the longest time. We've gotten a few new riders here recently, but definitely looking to, grow all the more that we can.
Very cool. Very cool. I'm just curious about that kind of stuff. We have all that stuff as well. It is quite the project starting a club.
It is.
I don't know where you came from as far as the farmer club, but we were part of the Freedom Cruisers. Good group,
Gotcha.
but not really where we wanted to be or what we wanted to do. So we've been talking about it for like 3 years around the campfire, drinking beers, and all of a sudden, boom, we decided to do it. So, yeah, it's been quite the experience. I'm sure you can attest to that as well.
100% agree. It's definitely been a handful, but it's been an enjoyable, so to speak, ride as we do this, kind of moving forward and getting everything in place.
Right. So, more about your ride. It's free. Donation only.
It is. Donation only. We're not throwing anything, that is like $20 a rider and so much fat. We're not doing any of that. It's just whatever you feel led to donate. Again, everything that we collect is going straight to Lucy.
That is something I don't think I've seen done. I can honestly say usually it's $10 or $20. We just went on a ride last week and it was $10. I thought that was really cheap. But yeah, donation only. Interesting. That's my
faith in bikers.
And for those that don't know, but pretty much everyone that listens is a biker, they're some of the most generous people out there.
Without a doubt.
So
and see, I'm kind of like you. I've had rides that are $10, $15, $20. We had one 2 weeks ago that was $50. The reason I kind of did it the way I did it is I don't want to eliminate anybody who's having a down week. Maybe things are super tight. Maybe they can only do 5. Great, that's fine. Maybe they can only come out for the camaraderie and support Lucy. That's fine too. I'm just looking for support for the family, even if it's just a hug.
Right. So let's dive into this a little bit more. How long have you been riding?
I have only been riding 8 years myself.
Oh, all right. And what are you currently riding?
Currently, I am on a 2022 Indian Pursuit.
Oh.
That it spent the winter in paint. It was over with Wendy Dalton over in Highland, and she did a full Native American theme on it.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
They're a fun ride. I've only had it about a year, and this past weekend I rolled 25,000 miles on it already.
Wow. In a year.
2 years.
2 years. 25,000 miles. Wow, that's good. That's pretty impressive. And what did you have before the Indian?
Before the Indian, the previous 5 years before that, I had a 2007 Yamaha Venture, so big touring bike.
Yeah. And now to the Indian, and
yep.
You're liking the Indian?
I'm loving the Indian.
That's
absolutely
awesome.
Loving. Hey, don't get me wrong, the Venture was great. I put 65,000 miles on that over that time frame.
Yeah.
Fantastic bike. It went to Sturgis twice, down to Tail of the Dragon. But after I got the Indian, I didn't trade it in. I kept it, hoping my sons would ride it.
Oh.
Ended up being too big of a bike for them, so I ended up getting rid of it.
Yeah.
But it parked in my garage for a little while. I took it out after having the Indian about a year. And honestly, I thought I was going to wreck the thing. The balance, the weight was so much heavier than I ever remembered. Just the balance and the way the Indian's put together makes it so much easier to ride. It's like, I'm good. I'm staying on this.
Right. I'm on a 14 Ultra Classic right now. And of course, in my garage, I have 2 Street Glides parked in there also. And so sometimes I get the itch to move one of the Street Glides. They're not mine. One's my wife's and one's my buddy OG's. It happens to be a brand new 2024.
Okay.
And I get on it and it's just, I can't believe how much lighter it is than the bike that I'm riding. And I don't notice the weight when I'm riding my bike, but those Street Glides are quite a bit lighter.
Yeah. Right now in the garage, we've got my 2022 Indian. My wife has a 2021 Can-Am Spider RT.
Oh, she rides as well.
She's already rolled 36,000 miles on that since she got it new.
Wow. You guys ride.
picked up a 2006 Harley Road King that I'm doing some work on.
Oh, very cool. Now, we had OG here, my buddy. He had been away from bikes for about 30 years, and he found himself a Victory that he liked and bought it, and he rode that for about a year, and then, of course, we talked him into going on one of our big trips, and he was nervous about taking the Victory, so he actually sold it and bought a 2013 Ultra, and rode it. That bike fit him like a glove. I mean, it was like that bike was built for him. Whoever had it before him was built very similar, because, I mean, he got on it, and it was just, he was in love. And he loved that bike and rode it and rode it and rode it and rode it more than he ever rode his Victory. But he was a guy that, we have him on video at one of our Christmas gatherings. Oh, you Harley guys, I'll never own a Harley. And then he fell in love with a Harley, and the rest is history. But what drove you to choose the Indian?
Well, it's funny you talk about OG. I was kind of the same. I won't say I'm anti-Harley. I just wasn't a Harley guy. My first bike was a Yamaha. It was a V-Star 1100. Then my second bike was the Yamaha Venture. So I'd always been kind of I won't say oddball, but the different bike.
Right.
And then back in 2020, I started looking what was out there. They announced the Challenger, and I have to admit, I fell in love with it. The only drawback was we do a lot of touring. So I needed the trunk, and I would like the hard lowers. So,
right.
If I bought the Challenger, I was going to have to add those. So I kind of kept him in line. And then February of 2022, they announced the Pursuit, which had the hard lowers and had the trunk. It's like, hey, that's fine. So I spoke with Fox here, and on my birthday, I ordered it, because this was, of course, still in the COVID supply chain issues.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's going to take 8 months to get your bike. So if you want it, order it now. I'm like, all right, fine, we'll order it now. And like a month later, I get an email saying, hey, your bike's been built and it's being shipped. You'll have it in a couple of weeks. Like, wow.
Nice.
It was like a month and a half.
That's very cool. You have pictures of that on your Facebook?
I should, yes.
All right, I'm going to have to look it up. Just because, I mean, I can't say anything bad about Indians. I've sat on a few. They're just not, they just don't feel right for me. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There is a different feeling to them.
Yeah. I don't know.
If you're used to the Harley and that vibration, the Indian is smooth as glass.
Yeah.
And I had a buddy of mine that rides, I think he has an Ultra. And he took the Indian around a parking lot. We were at a big truck stop over in Coopersville.
Okay.
And he took it around the parking lot. He came back. He was like, I can't ride it. It doesn't feel right to me. I can't feel the bike.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It was just a different feeling. And I don't know. I mean, I could ride it if I had to, but I just somewhat dig more into this, the whole bikers being generous people. And so it was your cousin that was shot in the head. Now, did his parents ride? Do they ride? Are they bikers?
They do not. They aren't. They have family that are besides me. Devin's grandfather, which would be my cousin's husband, he's big into bikes, but unfortunately, he is dealing with a cancer himself right now.
Oh.
And he doesn't have the strength to do it. We were talking about putting him, on the Venture when I had it, which of course that was way too heavy.
Right.
I'd be up to putting him on the Road King, but again, he'd have to get his strength up to be able to do that. One of the things we've done is when we've gone out to things, he's wanted a motorcycle vest. We've got him a vest with some nice patches on it from like Baldwin, from Sturgis. We went over to the 120th Harley homecoming last year. We got some patches over there for it. So we got it geared out. We just got to get him where he's stronger and on a bike.
That's cool. That's cool. So you guys, your club's got a patch and all that stuff. Is it like a real club?
We do indeed.
That's cool. Now I'm very curious because I gotta look this because I get into the different club things. So that's a separate show. And now, what about Lucy? Are her parents bikers or?
They are.
Oh.
Actually, her parents and her grandparents. They just had a ride not long ago coming out of, I think it was Bitely it came out of.
Oh.
And I think
close.
It was the grandfather that actually led that one.
Oh. Yeah, that's close by. That Bitely's not far from me. Say up in Branch.
Yep.
So you got 50-50 raffles.
We're hoping. Yeah, we're definitely hoping to have at least Dad and Mom there. I assume probably Grandpa and them will probably come ride with us as well for this particular ride.
So how many bikes did you have the first year?
The first year, I think we got the word out too late. We only had about 20 to 30 bikes, I think, that first year.
That's actually not bad.
It's not too bad.
That's not too bad for a first year. Yeah. Say this is our first event, and we're hoping for that number. So, this year, you think you're going to have more? You've been pushing it pretty hard.
I'm hoping for it.
So, let me see here. I gotta get my. Is registration, or I guess it's not really registration, but it kind of is, isn't it? For donations?
It is kind of the registration. We're going to be there starting at 9:30 in the morning. So
okay.
We'll be there early. Kickstands aren't up until 11. So plenty of time. We'll be there. If people just want to come and just chat, hang around, kind of look at bikes, we'll be there.
And that's at the Galesburg Fire Department?
It is indeed. And
do you have the address for that or no?
I do. Let me go grab it here. There it is. It comes up as 254 Fair Lane in Galesburg. It's one of those weird ones. I think it actually has two addresses. It's weird because It also gives an address right on Michigan Michigan Ave, I think it is. Let me see if I can find that one really quick.
I'm totally not familiar with Galesburg, so I am no help.
Let's see here. Yeah, like I said, I know I've got that one. And the other address it gives is directly on Michigan Avenue. It's 200 East Michigan Avenue. So either of those, because there's like a little side road, a service road that it also addresses on.
Right.
Either of those in your GPS should bring you right to it.
Is there a landmark, something there that you know that if somebody spots it, they'll know they're close? You don't know.
It's just slightly east. It's a 5-point stop in the center of Galesburg. Galesburg's not much of a landmark itself. Really small town, one light, boom, you're out.
Oh wow.
But it's a 5-point stop. It's just east of that on Michigan Avenue.
Okay. And you'll be there at 9:30, and kickstands up are at 11?
11.
And then you're going to Cologne,
and then on to Vicksburg, and then back to the fire department here.
Do you have a certain stop picked out in Cologne?
We do. I've got to look at the name of it. I believe, isn't it Curly?
Just trying to give a shout out.
Yes, Curly's in Cologne, and
Curly's in Cologne. And into Vicksburg from there?
On to Vicksburg.
I'm asking you all the tough questions right now.
I should have had that information. It's on me.
It's all right. It's all good. So Curly's in Cologne.
Pull up my route
and then something in Vicksburg.
Here. Where's my routes?
You weren't expecting those kind of questions.
I should have. I'm slacking here.
It's all right.
I know better.
So, about how far is the ride total?
It's really not too bad of a ride. I want to say total is about, with stops, was about 2.5 hours, if I remember correctly.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
It's about a total of 67 miles.
Oh, pretty short, actually. For us, for the rides, typically that seems like the rides would go on right around 100 miles. The poker runs.
Yeah, it's Curly's in Cologne, and then Vickers Lakeside Tavern in Vicksburg.
Oh, cool. the ride we went on last week was like 170 or 180 miles. I burned.
That's me.
I
I'm
burned
all for
3/4 of a
as long
tank.
as you can get.
Yeah,
That's definitely me.
We like to ride. So, have you been up to like Mackinac or anything like that for the rally?
We have. We went we went last year and the year before we went and we stayed at Mill Creek. This year we went up. We didn't necessarily do the rally. We were over in St. Ignace and we just kind of rode the UP a little bit.
Oh, very cool. You ridden much in the UP?
Love the UP. Been H58 a number of times. Been over all the way to Copper Harbor once.
Oh, you did go up
Loved
there.
it.
I like that road better than I liked H58, but
that's a gorgeous road.
It is.
When we went through there, I was still on the Yamaha Venture, and I was towing a timeout camper, and it was getting ducked. So that was a fun little ride through there.
Yeah, I bet. That road's kind of narrow.
Yeah. It definitely kind of freaked me a little bit. We made it, though. And the last two times we've gone to Sturgis, which was 20 and 21, we went up through the Upper Peninsula to go out.
Oh.
So, and probably will this year. We're debating on whether we're going to go up through the UP and go to Sturgis, or I might take the long way through by Dodge City, Kansas, and up.
Oh, wow.
So we're kind of debating on which way to go.
So you've done it. We're talking about doing it next year, the ride to Sturgis. How long did that take you?
It depends on which way you go. 2021 was probably our most direct route. We went up through the Upper Peninsula, came over on 2, dropped all the way down to Green Bay, and then basically shot straight across.
That's kind of what we were talking about. I think it ends up.
Yeah, I think it ends up being like, I'm trying to remember. I want to say it ended up being like 1,400 miles at that, and we did it in 2 days.
Oh, you did it in 2 days. Wow. That's a lot of riding, guys. My hat's off to you. In 2 days. We were looking at doing it in 3 days because we have an assorted amount of skills. Let's just say that.
That's fair. That's probably us next year. Our club is going out next year. This year's probably just the wife and I.
Right.
Next, our club's going out, and same thing. Assorted riders, assorted bikes, assorted capabilities and abilities. So
right.
we'll probably take 3 days. Probably keep it under about 400 miles a day, just so everybody's comfortable.
That's what we're looking at doing, 400 to 500 miles a day. I mean, yeah, and I mean that's for a lot of people. That's a long day.
Oh, it can be.
We just went to St. Roberts, Missouri, down to the Uranus Fudge Factory. Upcoming podcast on that. But yeah, we left Wednesday and we did like 200 miles the first day because we left late. We were gonna leave Thursday and ride from Ludington to Champaign, Illinois, stay in Champaign, and then go to St. Roberts the next day.
Okay.
We ended up leaving half a day early because the weather was going to turn to crap on us. So we went to Elkhart, Indiana the first afternoon, and then from there we went to Champaign, Illinois, and then because we already had reservations there, so we kind of had to play along on our plan. But that was some long days of riding, and if you've been through Indiana and Illinois, that ain't much to look at.
No, it's pretty flat. We came back through there last year. We usually do one big trip a year, the wife and I. Last year is what we called our music and barbecue triangle. We did Nashville, New Orleans, and Memphis.
Awesome.
And she found, it's called Spiders in the Ozarks. There was a little spider rally in Springfield, Missouri. So she wanted to do that. So we took a day off of each of the towns and tacked that on to the end. So we cut through Arkansas into Springfield and kind of spent 3 or 4 days riding the Ozarks.
That would be awesome. Just the little bit that we did in Missouri, the roads were awesome.
Oh, they're great.
Twisty, hilly, great condition. Not like our Michigan potholes, but
completely agree. And that one was kind of interesting. I was one of the few 2 wheels there.
Oh,
So I was like, look, I'll block. I'll get in the back. You guys go ahead. So following that whole train of spiders through the mountains was really kind of funny watching watching them ride.
they ride a little bit different, but it's
They do.
different than following a trike even.
Well, my wife, she cracks me up. When she bought hers, we got it in July of 2021. And she had it about a week, broke it in a little bit, got some extras installed on it, and then we left for Sturgis.
Oh, wow.
And we get out there, and she rode it out, rode it back, and towed a trailer with it out and back, fully loaded.
Wow.
Never ridden before. She's always been a passenger. But we get out there, we're riding on Iron Mountain Road, and I'm of course watching her because she's new. So I keep looking in my mirrors, and I noticed she's throwing her rear end off the bike like you used to do for the four-wheelers.
Right.
And that's what she's doing on all the curves.
On all the curves.
I'm just cracking up. But she loves it.
That's awesome. I say my wife too. She's been riding for 3 years now. She's on her third Harley. She upgrades every year. This year I don't think we're buying a new bike, so that's good. But yeah, she had never ridden before. Hadn't even been a passenger really. She rode on the back of her brother's bike one time when she was younger. I got my bike, and I have been without a bike for probably 10 years. And yeah, so I went down to go buy a Harley, and she had to copy me. So she started out with a Sportster, then went to a Softail. Now she's on a Street Glide. So
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody kind of thought my buying a bike was more a midlife crisis. I thought the wife would tolerate it for a couple of months and then tell me to sell it. And she fell in love with the life more than I did.
Yeah.
And she's been gung-ho ever since.
Yeah, that sounds like my wife too, the same way. She loves to ride probably as much, if not a little bit more than I do. She always wants to be on the bikes. To the point where we had bought a camper, and now she wants to sell the camper. She's like, let's sell the camper. We can get new bikes.
See, now we're about to go the other way. We're looking at the next year or so picking up a toy hauler.
Yeah. See, that's the direction that I wish we had gone. But when we bought our camper, we had just gotten the bikes. So the whole extent of how much time we were going to spend on those bikes hadn't hit yet. Yep. So now we have a camper that sits in our driveway, and the bikes are never sitting in the driveway.
Exactly.
So yeah, a toy hauler would have been the way to go. But
the nice thing about that is, with my particular job, I'm 100% remote.
Oh, very nice.
As long as I have access to internet, I'm good. So we could travel, and I could work on the road and ride in nights and weekends, spend a couple weeks someplace, move on to the next spot. So that's kind of our goal in the next couple of years.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. All right, let's going to wrap this up then, and I'm going to stay in touch with you because we got to meet and talk and do that because we have a lot in common, dude.
It sounds like it.
So yeah, that's very cool. So on July 13th, if you're not able to come up north and do this great ride that we're going to have, I suggest you go and do this awesome ride for a way better cause. Lucy Plant, diagnosed with systematic juvenile idiopathic arthritis, 5 years old. And she is part of a research study for the illness, figuring out what works for her little body. And through all this is being the bravest little girl through it all. So it's donation, July 13th. The registration will start at 9:30. Kickstand's up at 11. You're going to go for a nice little ride from Galesburg to Cologne to Vicksburg, and then returning to Galesburg. And then you're going to have hot dogs and stuff for sale at Vicksburg when you get back? Or at Galesburg?
Yes.
And a 50-50. Anything else going on?
No, probably just the 50-50, I think, is what we've got this year. We're looking to maybe add on to that as we go. We'll see how all that kind of plays out.
Cool. Yeah, we got to talk more one of these days. Because, I got some ideas that might help you guys out too.
We'll just have to take a ride to Ludington.
There you go. We'll go for a ride somewhere. Come up to Ludington. We'll go for a cruise up M22 or something. Have lunch.
M22.
Yeah, that's a good ride. All right, Tony. Thanks for coming on the podcast. I'm gonna plug your event next week as well.
Well, thank you very much, Eric. Appreciate it, man. And dude, be safe out there.
You too. It was nice chatting with you.
All right, brother.
All right, man. Be safe.
Be good.
You too.
Bye.
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 There you go, bikers. Great event. Be sure you're checking it out. Maybe Ludington's a little too far for you to ride. Go down by Grand Rapids there. To Galesburg at the fire department at 9:30. Register, donation only. So if you can only give $1, that's cool. But it's for a great cause. Definitely check it out. Remember, bikers, life is short, so get after it. Thanks for listening to the Mid-Michigan Biker Podcast. Have a good one, bikers. And remember, life is short, so get after it.